We've now started working on ratios. First we need to know what a ratio is. A ratio is a way of comparing one number with another number. There's three ways of writing ratios that we're going to focus on. The first way uses the word 2 in between the two numbers, so here's the first one, 1 to 5. We could also write 3 to 4, 10 to 20. The second way is to use a colon between the two numbers. So here it is. So we could write these same ratios, 3 to 4 or 10 to 20. And then the last way is to put it into a fraction. So you'd have 1 over 5 or 1 out of 5. So we could also write these that same way, 3 out of 4 or 10 out of 20. Okay? A little practice. If I give you the ratio 5 out of 7 and we wrote it in two different ways, how would we do that? Well, we could do it with a colon and write 5 out of 7, or we could do it with the word 2 in the middle and write 5 to 7. Let's go ahead and move on. Another thing to know about ratios is that they can be reduced just like fractions. We can write them in fraction form, so we can reduce them the same way as we do a regular fraction. So for example, if we have 6 over 12 and we want to reduce that like we would a fraction, we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So the ratio 6 over 12 in simplest form is 1 over 2. Another thing we can do with ratios is we can check to see if they're equivalents by using cross multiplication. The best way to do this is by switching your ratios into fraction form to start with. So if you take these ratios and switch them into fraction form, you'd have 1 over 3 and you'd have 25 over 75. When we cross multiply, we look at the numbers that are catty-corner from each other. So we're going to look at 3 and 25, and we're going to look at 1 and 75. And we're going to set it up like an algebraic equation. We're going to say 1 times 75 is equal to 3 times 25. We solve for both sides of the equation. 1 times 75 is 75. We drop our equal sign in. 3 times 25 is 75. 75 and 75 are equal numbers, so we can leave our equal sign there because, yes, they are equivalent. Let's try another example. If we have the ratio 3 to 2, which would be the same as saying 3 over 2, we're going to check to see if it's equivalent to the ratio 15 out of 5. Again, we're going to use cross multiplication. So we're going to take the 5 and the 3 and put it on one side of the equation. We're going to take the 2 and the 15 and put it on the other side of the equation. And we're going to solve for each side. 5 times 3 equals 15. Bring down our equal sign. 2 times 15 equals 30. Is 15 equal to 30? No, it's not. So we would put a slash through because it's not equal to. The two ratios are not equivalent. Okay, here's our last example of this. We're going to write these so they're fractions that are vertical instead of horizontal. Okay, we're going to take our crisscross pattern here. 3 times 42. We're going to see if it's equal to 7 times 18. If we take 3 times 42, we get 126. Drop in our equal sign. And 7 times 18 is 126. Our numbers are equivalent, so yes, those ratios are equivalent. Okay, the third thing that we can do is we can solve for missing numbers in ratios, if we're creating equivalent ratios. Again, I'm going to write these fractions so that they're vertical. So we're going to have 1/4 equals question mark over 8. Now, when you see these in a book or anywhere else, you may not see a question mark. You may see a variable, which is a letter that replaces a number. But for today, we're working with question marks. Okay, the first thing we need to do is find the missing number. So the missing number is where the question mark is, and we're going to go to the number either above or below it, the number that's within the same ratio. So the number in the same ratio is the 8. We're going to cross multiply the 8 by the 1 and then divide by the leftover number, which is the 4. So we take the 8 times the 1 and then the leftover number is the 4, and we divide by that. 8 times 1 is 8, divided by 4 is 2, so our question mark is going to be equal to 2. Now, that is the easiest way of doing it because once you know the pattern, it's easy to solve. However, here's the algebraic way so that you know the official mathematical way to solve these. You create the cross multiplication problem. So you create 8 times 1 equals 4 times question mark. You'd solve for each side. 8 equals 4 times question mark. And then you have to move this 4 to the other side of the equation. So you divide it out. But when you divide on one side of the equal sign, you have to divide on the other side of the equal sign. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. These 4's cancel out. So we end up with 8 is equal to the question, or 2 is equal to the question mark. That's the mathematical way of doing this problem. It's always good to know the official mathematical way. Okay, here's another example. 12 over question mark equals 4 over 3. We go to where the question mark is, or the missing number, and we use the number that's in the same ratio. So the same ratio would be 12, and then we multiply times the cross, 12 times 3, and we divide by the number that's left over, which is 4. So we went across to multiply and up to divide. We figure that out. 12 times 3 is 36, divided by 4 equals 9. So our missing number is equal to 9. And we're going to do one more of these. 1 out of 2 equals 3 out of how many? We find where our missing number should go, the question mark. We use the number in the same ratio, so that's 3. We go across to multiply and use the number that's left to divide. 3 times 2 is 6, divided by 1 equals 6, so our missing number is equal to 6.